Hi all, welcome back to the final whistle then for another match preview on the channel. The battle with the blades then at KP as Tom Cannon returns to the King Power Stadium for the first time since leaving Leicester City for Sheffield United. Things haven't really gone great for Tom Cannon at Sheffield United. I think it's like 2 goals in 32 games. A bit like a bloody Pat Sindaka record with Leicester. But we're going to be joined by our good mate Ollie from Sheffield United Way. He's going to give me the lowdown on the Blades. And well, they've had 2 managers this season, haven't they? Ruben Sellers, and obviously now Chris Wilder's back for his 3rd stint at the club. And they seem to have picked up a bit. They're unbeaten in the last 3. Leicester, they'll want to forget about that traumatic night at St Mary's from Tuesday night. We've got to really bounce back this weekend. Tough game. But yeah, we might as well call it a Tom Cannon derby. Let's see who's in then. Hi all. Could be a pivotal game on Saturday. A slow, poor start to the game and the atmosphere could be very badly, very quickly. Rich, hello. How are we? Katie, thanks for coming. A YouTube member. Appreciate it. If anyone wants to become a member, it is on there for anyone who wants to support the channel. Be a shout out to Katie Talks Rovers. Marty out. Russell Martin in. I don't want Russell Martin anywhere near Leicester City, Katie, if I'm honest. Phil, how are we? I'm currently Marty in, but the argument against him is getting louder. Well, we're going to be banging our heads together, Rich, at this point, mate. Hello, Ray. Happy Thanksgiving to people across the pond. How are we? Late again, Jack. Only by a couple of minutes. Me and Ollie were just discussing about Tom Cannon and that. Always late, Jack, for know it. Well, we was actually on time for the championship prediction, so we'll not have any criticism. I hope you get a shout out, Jack, as your first member on YouTube. That's why I call dedication. Rovers are doing bad. I've joined a membership for Leicester City. Oh, fantastic. Evening, Mr. Whistle, from me and Charlie. Charlie is excited for his first game at the weekend. Well, hopefully it's a good first game for him, Ross. You know what it's like supporting Leicester City at the minute, mate. And things just don't seem to be going quite swimmingly. Let's just be quite frank about it. Great things, the final whistle are worth the wait. Hello, Paul. Hello, Paul. Oh, there's 2 Pauls in tonight. Hello, Pauls. Hi, Jack. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm all right. I am okay. I think I'm just recovering from that bloody crap game at the St Mary's on Tuesday night. I don't know. Charlie says 2-0. That's better than Daka, is it? Well, they only spent 10 million on him. Would be late for his own funeral. Well, that's not much I can say on that one. Craig, how are we, mate? Are we good? But there we go. Right. If anyone can hit the like button, we're going to set 35 likes on this preview. So if you can all hit the like button, that'd be appreciated. Subscribe to the channel as well. Show us some love. And let's get my mate in, Ollie from Sheffield United Way. Hey. Ollie, how are we?
Yes, I'm not too bad, thank you. Obviously feeling very positive about football at the moment because we're in a slightly good run. I mean, I was talking to Simon Lillibury earlier this week from Sportsman Pod, and very much the question was, is this what being in form feels like? Is this what it means?
I don't know. I've talked to Sheffield Wednesday fans, mate. They thought you lot were going down. You're even holding them up at one point until they got the deduction, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the start to the season, if we are being a bit more serious, it's been pathetic, if we're being honest with ourselves. Came into the season expecting to be promotion contenders, and right now I'm just begging we don't end up in League One. But it's been a good week. 6 goals, none conceded. Obviously, I think the biggest away victory in the Sheffield derby history. So, yeah, we've got to be feeling a little bit more positive.
What's your thoughts on Chris Wilder being back? What's this? His third stint now with Sheffield United boss. You know, he'd be in his bloody retirement home, and you'd still want him to pick up the phone, wouldn't you? To be fair, but how's it gone from with Chris Wilder? Obviously, you had Ruben Sellers before. Has things really picked up under Chris Wilder slightly, or is it a bit?
They have, yeah. I mean, if you look at the season, obviously, just for fans who aren't fully aware, obviously, Chris Wilder was our manager last season. We got 92 points. We got to the playoff final. I think anybody who watched the playoff final would say we were really unlucky not to be promoted back to the Premier League last season. Ultimately, look at what Sunderland are doing this year. Probably the right team did get promoted in the end, but we probably did deserve it on the pitch last season, so it hurt a little bit through the summer. The owners decided they wanted to change, and they sacked Chris Wilder. And they appointed Ruben Sellers. And we have subsequently found out that there wasn't anybody else interviewed. Nobody else was offered to advertise. Nobody else came in. They got a recommendation from somebody who knew the consortium. And so we got Ruben Sellers. He managed 6 games. We lost them all. We scored 2. That's including 1 that Gustavo Harmer scored from inside his own half in the Carabao Cup. I think the run was that in 3 away games, we didn't have a single shot on target. And obviously at home, we'd only scored 1 goal. So when he left, we were bottom of the league and we looked awful, in all honesty. Since Wilder's come in, it's been a big recovery job. We do look better. So we've gone from a position of, I think we were on no points after 5 games. We're now on, is it 16 after 17? So Wilder's got 16 points from 12 games. I'm not saying it's pulling up trees. I'm not saying it's everything we want it to be. But it keeps you up, that kind of return. And hopefully it moves us more into mid-table. And then you start having a conversation about, well, are there anything else that we can think about? But for now, get ourselves away from the relegation zone is the only priority. And yes, it has been better since he's come back. I do personally believe this should be the last time he manages United. I don't think we can keep doing this limbo all the time. It can't be Wilder's here, Wilder's gone, Wilder's here, Wilder's gone. It needs to be, he was our manager, and now we're moving into the next phase. But that's not today. That's not this week. We need him right now. And yeah, he's doing a decent job.
Is he still getting paid from his recent ones or what?
Oh, tell me about it. I think it sounds as though the deal was, and as I understand it, when you get sacked, the club pay your compensation, not in one lump sum. It's paid continually over the duration of what your contract would have been. Right. I think they made an agreement that we would stop paying him his compensation when we restarted paying him his new contract.
It's unbelievable. What have you made of the last 3 games? You've drawn 1, won 2. Patrick Bamford scored. Tom Cannon scored. What have you made of your little run you started to put together now? You now sit 21st. So you are out of the relegation zone for probably the first time this season, unless you can't be nil points or second yet.
We're second time this season. We seem to have a decent run after international break. So after the last international break, we won 2 games in a row. We beat Watford at home and then Blackburn away, and we got ourselves to 21st. I think we followed that up with a 5-game losing run. So I'm hoping we don't do that again. But the last 3 games, I think they're really typified by a slight change in our formation.
Yeah.
So for most of the season, we played this sort of hybrid 4-5 at the back, where out of possession, we would have 3 centre-halves, Japhet Tanganga, Mark McGuinness and Ben Mee, and our wing-backs would push on. But then when we were in possession, Tanganga would move out to right-back and we'd end up with more like a flat 4. That wasn't natural. Everybody felt as though they were playing out of position. Nobody really looked like they understood what they were doing on the pitch. So against Coventry, at half-time a few weeks ago, we completely changed system. We went a flat 4 at the back. We put a real right-back in, Femi Sirike. We moved Japhet Tanganga into his preferred position of centre-half. And we set a proper back 4. Since we've played that back 4, what I would call our first choice back 4, we've kept 3 clean sheets in a row. And we look so much more steady. Now, what I would say to Leicester fans is don't read too much into this recent run of form, because Sheffield Wednesday are the worst football team you will ever watch play football. I cannot put into words how bad they were last Sunday. And then I would say that Portsmouth were only marginally better last night. They showed absolutely no ambition in coming to Bramall Lane. Obviously went down to 10 men after around 40 minutes. But to be honest, they'd shown nothing before that. I think we've beaten 2 really, really poor teams. So we're not going to get carried away. However, we know that with momentum, with some confidence and positivity, there are good players in this United team. And if there was anything for you to be worried about, it's the fact that Gustavo Harmer smacked one in the top corner from 35 yards yesterday on his return from injury. If anyone's going to hurt you, it'll probably be that man.
Bloody hell, is Ben Mee still playing? We had him on loan years ago. Well, I remember Ben Mee's debut. I think he gave away 2 penalties, I believe it was, Paul.
Love it.
We were down 1-0 to Wednesday on the opening day, weren't we? Yes, we was. Yes, we
Yeah,
was.
you were.
We was 1-0 down, yeah. Sheffield United strikers, they've had a little bit of a pickle this season, haven't they? Obviously, Tyrese Campbell hadn't really been firing as such, had he? As much as you'd have liked him to. Then you've obviously brought in Patrick Bamford. He's got his first goal for the club. Then you look at Tom Cannon's stats, 2 goals in 32 games, £10 million you spent on him.
Thanks, man.
Is it that bad with Tom Cannon at Sheffield United? That's what I want to know as a Leicester fan.
He's better than Ryan Brewster. Maybe that's where we start. We have to look at the balances because obviously...
You sold him to Derby in the summer.
Yeah, well, we didn't sell him. He left on a free. So obviously the comparison there that I'm making for fans who aren't aware, we signed Ryan Brewster. I think it was a reported £22 million. That was the total package we were looking to pay. He scored, I think, 9 goals in 5 seasons before he left us on a free transfer to go to Derby last summer. The one other thing he has in common with Tom Cannon is that both of them scored goals at Hillsborough, which, they go down in our hearts, if nothing else. But Cannon, he's looked better in the last couple of games. He, for the most of his time with United, has been playing as a one up front, and it just doesn't suit him. He cannot play one up front. He doesn't run the lines properly. He doesn't occupy defenders. His press isn't strong enough to be a single man, one person up front. Doesn't hold the ball up well, and he's not got any link play. However, we've started playing him at 2 up front. Obviously, last night he started alongside Patrick Bamford. Against Coventry, he started alongside Tyrese Campbell. And I'd say they're probably his 2 best performances in a United shirt. Obviously, he got the goal when he came off the bench against Wednesday. A little bit of luck about it. It's deflected into the corner. But he had to take the chance. He had to have a go at it. And he's looking better. I'm not saying he looks £10 million. I'm not saying he looks brilliant. But we are seeing improvements in his play. And that's great to see. However, I don't think he'll start. I think our front 2 will be Patrick Bamford and Tyrese Campbell. Both players hopefully coming into form. Campbell got 2 goals last weekend against Wednesday. Bamford got his first for the club last night. I think they'll be the 2 that start the game.
Interesting. See, Tom Cannon, for us, you're always sitting behind Jamie Vardy, aren't you? It never really worked out for him in the end. He scored that great goal against Huddersfield, by the way, not long before he'd left for Stoke. But no, I don't know. I think he has struggled at Sheffield United a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously, his best spell in his career probably is Preston. If we talk on how he is scoring goals, he can score goals if you play him the right way. Patrick Bamford, though, a signing for you lot. Obviously, he had a lot of dispute about that song he sang about Chris Wilder, which again at full time. The Sheffield United fans sang the song to the pair of them, and they both clearly laughed it off. I was surprised with Chris Wilder bringing him to Sheffield United, to be fair, Ollie, after all that malarkey.
Yeah, it caught me by surprise a little bit, to be honest. I didn't think there was really any scenario in which Patrick Bamford had come to United. But, it's a sign of who Wilder is, to be fair, as a manager, because I do think he values the kind of, for want of a better phrase, the banter side of football. When we got promoted a few years ago, I know he started chanting about the Muppets from Leeds and rubbing their faces in it. When they then got promoted instead of us, they've done it back to us. And I think Wilder just said, you know what? Fair play. I give it out. I can take it. I'm a big boy. And so I thought it was really mature of both of them to bring that together. Similarly, Bramall Lane even chanted the chant at Wilder yesterday when Bamford scored, just as a bit of fun. He does look like what we've been missing. I've been impressed with him. We signed him on a free in the last international break. He's made now 2 appearances. He's played in both games since the break, and he's looked good. He's looked fresh. He's looked sort of fit and ready to play. I'm quite positive about what he looks like he's going to bring to us at the minute.
What's been your thoughts on Leicester? Obviously, we've not been great all season. I'll be fair. I know we've picked up points in that, but we've looked rather poor. I wouldn't say we've got going at all. We've got a manager who don't know his best 11. He doesn't help himself with the team selection and that. We got an absolute good hide in it. Southampton, it probably should have been more than 3, but we managed to keep it in, to 3 goals in the end. How have you made, from a fan going into this, looking at how bad things are at Leicester?
Yeah, it's a really interesting one for me. So at the start of the season, I don't know if you remember, we did our 1 to 24s together, didn't we?
We did.
I think I'd got Leicester in 8th at the time. I said the impact of the points deduction would probably knock you out of the playoffs, and that I felt actually the team coming down maybe wasn't as good as the teams who'd gone up, who'd come out. And I think we've seen that play out so far this season. And I think my main takeaway is that I think Leicester look to me like a team reliant on individual moments. I don't know what I often refer to something in successful teams where I try and talk about repeatable patterns of chance creation. Effectively, do you know, if you were playing a training game against statue dummies, do you know what pattern of play you would do in order to score a goal? United used to do it where we would overload down the wings. So you'd have your right wing back push up, your centre half would join, and then your number 10 would form a 3-on-2. So you always had an out ball. One of them would then drill it across goal. It was repeated. You saw each player know exactly what his role was every game. When I watch Leicester at the minute, I don't see any of that. I don't see your repeated pattern of play. I don't see your chance creation opportunity. What I see is a team of unbelievably talented individuals. And I think that comment, I don't think it's right to call it fluky. I do think that's a little harsh. The game that sticks in my mind is Charlton. You played Charlton, and if I'm honest, I thought you were really lucky to win that game 1-0. But what you actually saw was there are players in the Leicester squad that are better than the Championship and better than a lot of the other teams you will play. And so somebody like Abdul Fatawu could pick the ball up and do something special. That is enough to win you a game of football in the Championship. And so I see Leicester as a really, really dangerous opposition, but one who I don't fear, because I feel like if we get it right, and if we do what Blackburn did, for example, pack our wings, try to force you inside, try to prevent players like Fatawu from having space, we can hurt you. We only have to shut down those key men, and I think we will do well in the game. And so that's, for me, I think dangerous, but manageable. Whereas when I look at some of those other teams, Ipswich, for example, they scare me a lot more because I kind of go, well, if you don't stop him, then there's him, and they know what they're going to do. They're coached well. That's where I think you're lacking at the minute.
I'd agree. I think with looking at Leicester this season, we have a couple of individuals who, we've had individual brilliance. Fatawu, Jordan James, players who have probably been our better players this season at the squad, and players who the thing is with Jordan James, I love him because he's consistent. He works hard. He gives everything for the team, and he does a lot more than these overpaid merchants at Leicester. Players who don't want to be here. They just want to see out the season and be like, "That's it. We're done here. We ain't got to go back to Leicester." But this is where we are as a club. We've got players who don't care enough to put in a tackle. Scrapping games where we need to be strong enough. I think when teams really start to dictate play against us, who like to get in our faces and make it difficult for us, we don't like that. We don't like nothing. So say Sheffield United start really kicking us and getting in our faces, I think we just give up, because we did that at Southampton on Tuesday night. When Southampton started to pick up that tempo and really think, if we get at Leicester here, they're there for the taking. And we are a lot of the time, because it's the players' mentalities that they just think they can stroll up at stadiums and the game's just won like that. A game's won by earning the points. You're not just giving it right to it. And I think that's the way the mentality is for me in the shift, that some of these players don't believe they should be in the Championship, but you're there because you deserve to be, because you were shit last season, basically. And that's what winds me up. There's just no fight in the team apart from some individuals who do care. You look at Abdul. I think he's been frustrating this season. I really do think he has. I think the way we play with Marty, people double up on him now.
In terms of Fatawu, he's got some of the funniest stats that I've ever seen. I was looking at a sort of profile piece on him a couple of weeks ago, and I think I saw that the 3 goals he's scored have come from a joint 0.11 XG. He scores absolute bangers every time, but he's had 48 more shots that have gone nowhere near the net, which total another sort of 4 XG. And so you kind of look at it and you go, oh, he's scored about as many goals as you expect. But the goals have come from such small, ridiculous chances that it feels as though it's just not, it's not repetitive. You're asking him to do something ridiculous that he's not capable of doing time after time. He'll do it a lot, don't get me wrong, but he's not doing it every game. He's never going to. You can't rely on that moment.
This is what we've done. We rely on him. We always aim down that right-hand side because he's a good player. He's got the qualities, but I always find that he always goes in on that left foot a lot.
Yeah.
And he'll always shoot a lot more because he feels reliant that, well, I have to keep shooting because nobody else is, Where's everybody else taking these chances? I have to create them myself because the team don't look like scoring. We're a side, really. What did we have against Southampton? 2 shots on target, Fass and Jordan James. I'll probably only remember the Jordan James one because we were that shit. We were that poor. And then Southampton just put us away because we didn't turn up. We didn't care enough to turn up. You got 1,000 fans go down to St. Mary's on Tuesday night. And the players don't even turn up for the fans. And it's like, what's the point? What is the point of letting you lot wear this shirt time and time again if you don't give a toss? And we always say it, you're not fit to wear the shirt because most of them aren't. Most of them can't wait to leave in the summer or sign a pre-contract with another team in January. And then they'll down tool them because we've still got to keep them, haven't we? Unless we actually do go and sell them for money in January.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle when we've got a squad who there's just so much disconnect between it. You can see obviously players who care, like your Abduls, your Jordan James. But then he's got others who just don't care. And this is where we're at. We've got a strike. We've scored 3 goals between our strikers all season. Patson Daka scored for the first time in 354 days against Stoke. That shows how bad we are up front. We played with 10 men at times, even 9 men when we got 2 strikers on the pitch. Because Jordan Ayew, he's out gallivanting around the pitch. He's not even bothering about scoring. He's more interested in helping Yannick Vestergaard out to the back. I'm just like, well, what are we watching?
It's so frustrating.
We haven't got a plan. There's no plan. The manager's struggling with the players that he's been given, but the manager's got to be. When you come in as a manager and people say, yeah, but look at the poor squad you've got to work with, the high-paid earners, whatever, you still got to be able to go in and do something as a manager with them players. You can't physically sit there and think, yeah, I can't do OT here. Yeah, but you paid to come here. This is the thing. You're the manager. It's your job to get the best out of what you've got. And if you can't do that, then the manager's the one who gets the brunt of it at the end, isn't he, Ollie? Because the managers are the ones that get the sack. The players aren't.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, there's a real expectation from me because I do look at this Leicester team. And the area, actually, I know obviously the strikers are a real difficulty. You're really finding a struggle to try and get somebody consistently being able to score goals, despite the outlay that's obviously gone on so many of those players. But for me, the bigger question mark I have, and maybe I'm getting this all wrong, but that I don't understand the centre-backs. I don't get it because I looked at this Leicester team at the start of the season and I was so excited to see some of those other talents coming in, players like Ben Nelson, who's had unbelievable loans and proved himself to be a top-end championship defender.
Yeah.
We've seen him look really impressive for other teams. So to then be sat on the bench for the same old partnership that we know, if we're being honest with ourselves, they're a good championship centre-halves. I'm not saying they're not. I know you've been promoted and had fantastic seasons with Face and Vestergaard, but ultimately, we know they're not good enough. We know that they're not going to make the step up to get Leicester where they want to be. We know that there's a gap there. Ben Nelson got that potential to be a future leader for the club. I can't understand why he's not having a chance, why he's not breaking through at the moment. And I think that sums it up for me. I feel as though Marty has come in and I expected a lot from him. I really liked the work he'd done at QPR. I thought he'd had a fantastic sort of almost apprenticeship, if you would, at a club that was sort of mid-table in the championship, overperforming. And I thought he'd come and he'd be brave with what he was doing at Leicester. And I'd say he's been the complete opposite. I think I expected a brave manager willing to take the big decisions, willing to try and almost do that transition if it was needed. And instead, what we've seen is someone come in and do the safest possible thing. And even that's not working because it's almost taking away from the chances that you have had. And so, yeah, I think that has been really disappointing. And it will cost him. That's the bit. It'll be his job that goes on the line as a result of it, because you have to take that responsibility from somewhere. Like you say, you cannot get rid of the players. It has to be stick or twist on your manager.
Yeah, it's true what Paul says. To be fair, Marty has a rusting toolbox instead of all new snap-on tools. Bit of mechanics analogy. This is where it's at. Marty made a mistake playing Aluko. I like Ben Nelson. I think he's a great championship defender. Did well at Oxford. I thought we're going to see big things from him here. But then you stuck with the bloody Chuckle brothers at centre-back. And that's what they are, the Chuckle brothers. I know Vestergaard, he's probably been the best as centre-back out of the two. Fass has got more mistakes in him than Optinus, basically. He always goes walkabouts. It looks like he's taking a dog out on a football pitch for a walk rather than looking at what he should be doing elsewhere. He's took an eye off things. He's probably lost a dog, so he's got an eye on a nice fit woman. Do you get what I'm saying?
We've all been there.
That's how I sort of look at Wild Fass. He doesn't track his man. You've seen the second goal against Southampton. Azaz he's just there. And Fass is just holding his hands up like, yep, that's offside. Like, mate, you play to the whistle. And Fass goes missing a lot, but then he always blames everybody else for his own doing. And, you know, I thought I didn't see Wild Fass in a Leicester shirt again, but I have. But we've got, our defence is so predictable. We've not got a left back who's good enough to play. Aluko got through in at the deep end against Southampton. Didn't even have any minutes before in the first team to think, you know what, we can rely on him. He's had a decent run of games this season. He hasn't. We've just threw him in because we've got nobody else. Luke Thomas was he's been awful. Whoever offered him a 4-year contract, Jesus Christ. And that's the decision.
We had him on loan from you a couple of years ago. I cannot believe he's still there. He's rubbish.
No, I can't. But we offered him a 4-year contract and we think we're getting 20 million for him. You'd be lucky to get 20p for him. The thing is, he's that bad. And he's always out of position. And yes, sometimes the defence don't help him. And yes, we don't track back enough. But he just isn't good enough. Aluko, you can't rely on these young players if the experienced players aren't doing it, because they haven't got that experience, have they, to know the game well. They're going to get beaten more times than not. It proved it Tuesday night for Aluko. I felt sorry for him. Because as soon as he got that yellow card, you just thought, yeah, they're going to keep aiming for him here. And then he got the red card. I'm thinking, oh, my God. The manager threw him in at the deep end and relied on him. Ben Nelson's injured. Coley, I don't even think he's fit. But then you're relying on Fass and Vestergaard. You've got Ricardo, who's a right back, isn't interested in playing midweek games because of his injury record. And then you've got Hamza Chowdhury, who supposedly, he's a midfielder, but when we have to use him at right back because that's where Sheffield United sort of found a strong point in him. So we haven't got a great defence. We leak goals due to our own doing. The 3 goals that we did concede against Southampton is our own doing because we're caught ball watching and that. We're so easy to play against, and this is what Chris Wilder will look at with Leicester. If we can do what Sheffield Wednesday did to them at the start of the season, or what Southampton did and all these other teams have done, and make it a really tough game for Leicester at the weekend, then we'll fold.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really stands out to me for this game, and the reason that I almost pinpointed onto Faisal Vestergaard, is that I think we're first in the division in terms of final third ball recoveries. We are really strong in terms of pushing forward, winning the ball high, forcing mistakes in and around the edge of the opposition's penalty area. Callum O'Hare, an absolute standout in terms of being able to do that and being an absolute pressing machine. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do. I think we're going to wait for the ball to be facing Vestergaard. We're going to wait for them to try and sort of play out. And that's going to be the trigger for our press. We're really going to be trying to force mistakes there.
We're too slow to play out. And when we do play out, we aim down that right-hand side to Abdul.
Yeah.
And then, so it's like, what do you do? Every game we've started this season, Ollie, has been the same pattern every single time. We're so slow to start up, and then teams start pressing us. And Stoke, every time they went forward, you thought they'd score. They probably could have scored about 5 if it weren't for Begovic. So even Norwich, they got a goal against us because they're that poor, in the end. But they could have been 2 up before we even scored. It's like I've found this season where we've had a good 20 minutes in games. 20 minutes isn't 90 minutes. What are you doing for the other 70 plus added time of minutes in games? Not a lot. Yeah. And it's depressing that we keep going on with this vicious circle, but we produce this circle to get even bigger. Because fans say to me, like, name one game we've been decent this season, and I think we were probably okay against Birmingham at home. We won the game. We did okay in probably spells of that game, but other than that, we just haven't. We've not got into first game. I don't think Marty even knows what the plan is. He's not got a plan B. I do think he's a manager very much of. He says a lot of things, but there's no substance to go with it. Man had talked like Guardiola because he's watched a lot of Barcelona, but he just hasn't got the football thing to go with what he's saying. And whether that he thinks that team isn't good enough to play his style of football is another thing. But the players have got to take accountability, and so has the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what we saw at QPR so much from Marty was he seemed to start every season almost a little bit like this, if we're being honest with ourselves. I think we saw it particularly last season where he started with QPR trying to play his way. He wanted to play Marty ball. He wanted to get them knocking it around, slow, possession-based, really building out from the back. But he had to change it 10 games in when they were rock bottom of the league and weren't picking up any points because that's where they were going to fall apart. And he had to change that and become pragmatic, become defence first, turn them into winning in different ways, make them win ugly. And I feel as though almost he's not, I don't know if he doesn't trust his team to do that, if he's almost said, no, I've come in, I've got my big job, I'm now going to play my way in my big job. Doesn't matter what happens, I'm not changing to being practical. I don't know what it is, but it's a shame he's not found that transition because, like I said, I had a lot of high hopes for him and it has been disappointing.
I agree. Do Sheffield United try to play from the back because we ain't good enough at it?
Yeah, we're going to be... We do at times, but I think we've tried to be a lot more direct in recent weeks. We've really wanted to try and get forward and be turning defenders as early as possible. We want to get Tyrese Campbell running in behind. We want to try and create space and gaps between your central midfield and your centre-backs. So we'll try and isolate Faust and Vestergaard in particular. I'm sure they'll be a massive target. What we'll want to do is almost hold the ball at the back with Ben Mee. We'll wait for you to come on to us and Ben Mee will play the big diagonals onto the wings. Try and get either Andre Brooks down the right, maybe try and get Callum O'Hare in on the left. But then very much we want to, using the centre forwards. So, it's not really build out from the back. It's be a little bit slow, wait for you to come to us and then pump it long.
Bloody hell. We've got to be very much far better than if that's the way you play. Because we had Oliver Skipp in midfield on and Harry Winks on against Southampton. It probably worked to an extent against Stoke, sort of to slow that tempo down what Stoke had. I think someone even said to me and in that game that Skipp had a decent game that game. But Mavididi, I want to see him kick on a lot more from that goal against Stoke. He didn't turn up against Southampton. And obviously, we were dragged off. We down to 10 men. But it's how we play against you, innit? Because you lot are going to be bouncing now with the 3 results that you started to pick up. With us, it's will the players actually care enough to get up for that 12:30 kickoff? Because the last... I think the last 12:30 kickoff we had was Blackburn at home, I believe, and they showed us the door in the game. That we didn't get up for that at all. Home form they say is key, but we seem to drop a lot of points, Ollie, at home this season. We haven't really been as strong as we'd have liked as fans. Marty's in his last game against, I think it was Stoke at home, said, it's only November, Leicester fans, it's still a long way to go. You need to get behind the team. And, the fans do try and get behind the team, but we're not exactly producing something exciting, are we? Or entertaining for the fans to get up on their feet for. We're just doing the same thing every time and too predictable in doing it. this is really a game where we need to be more pragmatic. We need to be more on the front foot. And I've not seen us on the front foot all season, so I probably wouldn't expect it in this game. But there's a lot to take. Obviously, Bamford, he's obviously scored. I remember he were on a bloody big drought before. He ended up getting one in COVID when he played for Leeds. Tom Cannon's going to be, he'll want one against Leicester because he'll feel that he deserved more of an opportunity at Leicester than what he got. I think he felt hard done by than what did we spend on him? £8 million in the end. So he's going to fancy it against us because it's just the way Tom Cannon, I think, would feel. Hamza Chowdhury. Yeah, Hamza, what was your thoughts on him?
Can we have him back, please? January's coming. If he's available, I'm sure we will be back in.
How much are you offering?
I have no idea, but I'm sure the club will be exploring that. I loved Hamza Chowdhury. Thought he was outstanding for us last season. In terms of a right back, he would solve a lot of the problems that we've had this year so far. I thought at Wembley, he was probably the best player on the pitch. Really unlucky to be on the losing side. Really, really rate him. I think if the opportunity comes, I would absolutely love to have him back at Bramall Lane. Yeah, a lot of time for Hamza Chowdhury and hope to see him in red and white again.
What about Harry Souttar?
Honestly, fully fit Harry Souttar is the best player in the Championship. He was unbelievable. Honestly, I can't put into words how good he was for us last season. Like, for anybody who followed the Championship at all, I'm sure you will have been distracted, obviously being Premier League, but there'll be some fans who like following the Championship anyway. We were on track to match Burnley's defensive record last season. They broke all of the defensive records in the Championship, and we matched them for around 23 games. We went on a run of, I think it was 9 consecutive clean sheets at Bramall Lane. All of that was basically on the back of Harry Souttar. He was outstanding. One of the best centre-backs I've seen at Bramall Lane in terms of just the pure art of defending. I loved him. Again, I'm sure that if he's getting fit, if his knee is recovering, then he's another one. I'm sure we will be in touch to say, if you want to come to Bramall Lane, we'll be more than happy to take you on in January.
Yeah, Ross says Hamza, Souttar were great for the Blades, but all the other players we've given you there. So had Thomas, Gallagher, Cannon, Dean Hammond.
Honestly, we've met Dean Hammond recently, and we've got an interview with him on our channel where he talks through some of the difficulties that he's had in his life, particularly with what he was going through personally during the time he was with United. So I don't want to slag the man off too much. It's, he had a lot going on at the time, but he was atrocious when he came to Bramall Lane. There's no words. He was so bad.
What's been your thoughts on the Championship so far? You look at second place down to about 17th, and so it's like, 8 points? And it's so tight again. But then you sort of look at this point of the period of the season, Ollie. Obviously, let's have a look at the table. So Leicester, what we got, 24 points, 15th place. You guys are down at 21st, aren't you, with 16 points? But if you're looking at where West Brom are for 22 points, and then Stoke on 30 points. Yeah. Do you think this is the part of the season now where teams will start to pull away, like your Middlesbroughs, your Stokes, and teams like that? Obviously, Ipswich are starting to come good now. They're sitting in the top 6.
So I think, if I was rating the Championship at the minute, I would say Coventry are your champions elect. I think they've all but won the league just because of how big of a gap they've got now. I think they will be able to just kick on. I don't think they even have to be particularly good for the next 30 games for them to get promoted. So I think Coventry, I think we'll see them run away. They'll be away from it. In terms of the other teams around them, I think we're going to continue to see inconsistency. Stoke, Middlesbrough, Millwall, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, they are not going to finish in the top 2. None of those 3 teams. They're not good enough. I have a lot of time for them. They've started the season really well, but none of those 3 teams are going to be automatic promotion contenders. The 2nd place spot, for me, will be either Ipswich or, depending on how their run goes, Southampton. I think Ipswich are the team most likely to go there. They're the team most likely to challenge Coventry. I don't see any others realistically being able to get there. I also think it's probably the most frustrating championship season for a long time because I look at Leicester, I look at United. We didn't have to be good this year. We really didn't. We just had to be average. If we'd have turned up to this season and we'd been average, if we'd just been ourselves half the time, we'd be in the top 6 without a question. The fact is that we didn't have to be good this year. We just had to be competent. And instead, we've turned up and we've thrown in absolute shockers. And we've thrown this away. This division is there for the taking, and we've given it to other teams. And that's what has annoyed me this year. The fact that I'm still saying I don't think playoffs are impossible shows what I think the level of the championship is this year. Because I really do think that behind Coventry and then potentially Ipswich, I don't think there's anything in this. And I think everybody is beatable.
Yeah, teams are beating each other, aren't they? When Stoke and Middlesbrough are picking up the points, so it gives them a bit more of a cushion.
I think Middlesbrough have won 1 in 6. Do you know what I mean? We're talking about the top of the division going for automatic promotion. They've won 1 in 6. These aren't teams in great form who are running through. It's just teams who are fine. They're doing all right. Somebody's got to be able to kick hold of this.
I think Leicester's big problem is when this hearing's finished of the points deduction scenario, and that it's going to affect us, isn't it? Probably quite a bit, to be honest.
I was chatting to Locks. Is he blue tinted glasses? I think on YouTube. I was chatting to him earlier this week, and he seemed to have some suggestion that there was noises coming out about what it might be. Maybe 6 points rather than 12.
Well, that was Stefan Borson. He's obviously he's not heard it too much, has he? But he were on about it on Talk Sport about it could be very much be 6, and then obviously you got the charges to come at you to look at. I think the minimum is 6 points, isn't it? But then obviously they're going to look at the 3 charges that Leicester have got, and then the FL are going to say, well, okay, then we've waited to see what the Premier League have got. This is what we implied to you before Leicester. Because with Leicester was, Ollie, the EFL basically offered us a business plan twice. They tried getting us, they failed. And then Leicester, all Leicester kept going back with was, how do you know we're going to fail? We don't need your business plan. You can basically stick it up where the rear end, basically. We're not going to fail. You're not going to prove us wrong. But we have failed. We've obviously not handed in our books on time. We've not communicated with either league. We've decided to think, we'll battle on with this. And then obviously you can spend so much, can't you, without going over. But Leicester have gone over it. That sort of millions. I think it's 20 million. If you spend 20 million and over, I think you get points deduction, won't you? You can't really fight it. And obviously, we are going to get done for that. But this is where we're at. We don't know what the uncertainty is of this points deduction and whatever it is. We can get a transfer ban in January if they decide to imply it just before the end of December. We can get a big FD fine. It could be basically anything. They've put 3 conclusions at us, but we're on it. I think the hearing started, I think it might have been yesterday or today. It's either one. And then obviously it's a 2-day period. And then we don't hear anything now till the end of December / the start of the year. And that's a problem itself, because that brings big pressure as well, doesn't it, Ollie, with Leicester, that we don't have any points, because if they take the points off us now, we're going to be near the bottom of the table.
Yeah. And so just from obviously our experience, so United had points deduction last season, similar situation. I think ours was that we just didn't pay our bills on time. Effectively, we were delayed in terms of paying transfer fees to other teams. But what we got given effectively, as I understand it, and obviously you don't know everything for certain, but as I understand it, what we got was you can either have a 2 transfer window embargo, and we'll just say you can't sign players for 2 transfer windows flat, or you can take the points deduction. And they gave us almost like, can we deal on a points deduction so that you don't have to take the embargo? And I wonder if it could be something similar. Maybe obviously it's a different situation, but I think it's a joke that it isn't solved. I think it really is ridiculous. The fact that we're sat here and we're talking about it dragging on into January. The season's been going, 4 months by the time we'll get there. It's pathetic, really, that we're sat here continuing to have the conversation. We should know now. Like you say, if it's 6 points, yes, it moves you down towards the relegation zone at the minute, but it means that you can sit there and you can confidently go, right, 9 points to the playoffs. That's all we've got to do. From now to the end of the season, can we be 9 points better than Preston? I think every Leicester fan would go, yes, we should be able to be 9 points better than Preston. If they say it's a 12-point deduction, then all of a sudden you go, actually, 15 points looks a long way. And that's the trouble with the inconsistency. You just don't know because you can't plan for it. And it's not fair to the fans. It's not really fair to the team. So hopefully it does get resolved sooner than later.
Well, that's what we're hoping for. And when you say to Leicester fans, the 9 points from Preston, 9 points, we don't even look like picking up points in games at times. So it's a big ordeal for Leicester because we've been that poor. We just haven't got going at all. You don't know how Leicester will turn up to games. You probably think, you're probably playing Oxford or something, and you sort of think to yourself, okay, then we'll win this game today. Yeah. And then you look at 90 minutes and then we ended up drawing 2-2 and you're thinking, well, that didn't go as planned, did it? Yeah. So if the board has any sense, sack it up and clean slate. It's just like VAR. The fans know nothing.
Yeah. It's daft,
basically PSR ruins the game though, doesn't it? And obviously you look at the elite sides in the Premier League and people always keep talking about Manchester City, but you can't keep... I get people are frustrated with the whole Man City situation. Every team in the country is, even probably Accrington Stanley are at this point. But you've got to sort of focus on your team and what your team's doing. It's no good looking at Man City. Man City's situation ain't going to help us. Do you get what I mean?
I think as well, and I think I might be in the minority here, and I apologise to the fans if I am.
That's all right.
I'm not mad at Man City. I'm just not. And I'm not mad at Leicester because do you know what I look at this as is how are you ever supposed? So, for example, I'm a Sheffield United fan. I want to see my team be as successful as possible. Let's say I have a dream that we want to do what Leicester did. We want to win the Premier League. We want to finish in the top 4. We want to win the FA Cup. How do we do that? Well, let's be honest with ourselves. The way we do that is that we spend more money than we could possibly ever earn, and we build a team that makes us capable of competing. Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal do not want Leicester, do not want Sheffield United, don't want Manchester City being able to compete with them. So they've put in place a set of rules that mean that Newcastle, that mean that Aston Villa have to sell the best players. They have to sell their youth products. They're not allowed to compete because why would they want more competition? And that's what makes me angry when we say it's ridiculous, these situations that yourselves are in where it's dragging on, that Man City are in where it's lasting years and years. If you're going to punish them, you've got to do it faster. You've got to get it done. But more fundamentally for me, the sign of a broken football system is that if Man City can't do it, what are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to dream of? Like, send them off to the Super League and let us actually have a proper game. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? But anyway, I'll stop being annoyed.
we can't do that. That's the thing. And, you even had Man United getting bloody loans out during COVID, helped by the Premier League.
Yeah.
But the Premier League are the ones bullying the bloody smaller clubs. You can't compete because you're not allowed to. They don't want another. They don't want another Leicester City happening, do they? Let's be fair. They don't want another 2015-16 season. They don't want that.
No, they want the door shut. The ladder pulled up.
They don't want to allow other teams to dream. And for, we can do another Leicester here. Yeah. They don't want it. Nope. And this is where we're at, But that's the way the cookies crumbled, and they still get away with it. It's it's better. Football's corrupt, and it's all business and commercial bollocks, and that's.
Having said that, though, we talk about business and commercial bollocks. I don't know if any of the Leicester fans will have seen some of the reports this week. Apparently, Sheffield United's new owners wanted to buy Wednesday and merge the clubs.
Actually, someone mentioned that in the comments, Ollie. Talk to me about that, because if that ever happened, you'd have a blue and white and red shirt. But then how would the badge look, mate?
Honestly, it can't happen. It's one of those things that just fundamentally can't happen. I mean, we saw some reports and I made some jokes about it. I said, you know what? I tell you what, we'll merge two clubs. We'll unite the city. We can call them Sheffield United. We'll take the white stripes out of Wednesday's shirt. We'll take the red stripes out of United and we'll play in red and white. Don't worry about it. And you can joke about it and have a laugh about the different situations. But ultimately, that, for me, is just an extension of what we were talking about before. The idea that someone would think about that, it's Americanization of it. It's almost like the 100 in cricket, where they're just trying to create this franchise model. We'll be Sheffield and we'll be one team. We don't want it. We want 150 years of hating each other. I would rather go and watch the two Phoenix clubs playing the Sunday League on the park pitch around the corner, where we go and have a go. Like, why would we merge? It's ridiculous. But it'll never happen because it sounds as though the EFL shut it down as soon as they suggested it. But the fact our owners had suggested it is enough to tell me that they're wrong. And
it's just laughable. Jack, would you merge with Cove? I'm all right, thanks.
You'd merge points totals right now, but you won't merge clubs.
Paul, you can stick that decision, mate. That comment is irrelevant, mate. That wouldn't. I wouldn't even dream of that happening, mate.
No.
I don't think Coventry fans would either, mate. To be fair, Chowdhury isn't a right back. I'd play him over Skip currently as centre back. We're the Trent Rockets. 14 American owners in the Premier League will be doomed. It will happen. That's what I'm saying. And obviously, it's not bloody soccer; it's football. That's what it is. You can't call something that isn't. It's like calling, what do Americans call it? The NFL, don't they? Ours is basically rugby. That's what it is. And, it's two different phrases for two different sports. But you can't change. You can't come out. You can't take over a club and change everything. No. These owners think they can just do that because they've got the money to and they have the given right to. No. Football's been going around here for years. Yeah.
Get out with it.
We don't want
you. And
no.
Yeah.
It's not what you want to sort of, Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday fans. Really? Them two in the same stadium? They wouldn't even bother wanting to be in the
same being in Dave Office has them. I don't want to be in the same stadium.
You wouldn't be sitting next to each other. As soon as you find out he's a Sheffield Wednesday fan, before you can be like, I don't want to sit next to you. I don't like you.
Yeah.
Sheffield FC, I think they'd feel left out, wouldn't they?
They would. They're only football club in the world. They'll feel as though, wait a minute, just stick some money into us, would you?
Yeah. I don't know. Right. Let's have a look at the last time these two sides played each other in the championship at the KP. 10th of November, 2010. Can you name the score and the goal scorers without looking?
10th of November, 2010.
Yeah.
So that's the 2010-11 season. Yeah. We got relegated, I believe, as we went on that year. Is this at Bramall Lane?
That was at the KP.
At the KP. Yeah. Bearing in mind we got relegated, I'll probably predict that we lost. We did score a fair few goals that season. So I'll say we lost 2-1 and Daniel Bogdanovic scored.
No, you scored 2 goals. 2-2 draw. We
barely scored any goals all year.
Yeah. 2-2 draw. A player scored, a former Leicester player scored against us. He always had a thing for us. Mark Yates scored 2 for Sheffield United.
Mark Yates,
yeah. And,
I had forgotten he existed.
For us, Paul Gallagher scored and Steve Howard. I will name some of the lineups from that team. So for Sheffield United, you had Simonson in goal. You had Bartlett, Lowton, Jordan, and Nosworthy. You had Montgomery, Britton, Quinn, Yates, Cresswell, and Andy Reid.
However, did we get relegated?
Well, there we go. Leicester had Chris Wheel, Kyle Norton, Curtis Davis, Jack Hobbs, Greg Cunningham. I think Greg Cunningham played for Sheffield United at some point, I believe.
Kyle Norton through our academy.
Yeah. Richie Wellens, Yuki Abe, Andy King. Martin Waghorn, Darius Vassell, Paul Gallagher. The bench, Lloyd Dyer, Steve Howard, Matty Fryer, Michael Morrison, Bruno Bernard, Frank Musa. And then for you had Kozluk, Ched Evans, Taylor, Calvi, Wright, Bogdanovic, and Ertel. Is it Ertel?
Johnny Ertel, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, we were rubbish. Even that squad nearly brought me out in a cold sweat.
Andy Reid. Ollie, you haven't stopped smiling. It's putting me on edge for Saturday's game. Confidence is showing.
Yeah, you wouldn't think, looking at the division, you wouldn't think I'd have this much of a smile on my face. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm just excited.
I remember in the 80s when you won to go up, the Florian shirts matched the Stewards.
Yeah, good day. A lot of United fans talk about that. Wednesday got relegated, I think, the same day. So we came, won, got promoted. Same day, Wednesday got relegated. It's a very famous football headline in Sheffield. Blades up, owls down. Back of the greening. It was great.
Well, last time you beat Leicester at the King Power, it was called the Walkers Stadium back then. 2007.
Right.
Can you name the goal scorer?
If it was 2007, I can't 100%, but I'd take a bet on it being James Beattie.
Danny Webber.
Danny Webber. Yeah.
1-0 win. We beat you in recent times in like the Premier League.
Yeah, I remember some embarrassing ones. You did us 5-0, Paul Eckenbottom's first game.
I'm glad do you know what? I'm going to miss Jamie Vardy for this. That's the man I think about in this fixture. Jamie Vardy. Went to Bramall Lane, snapped your corner flag, cupped his ears in front of your cop. I'll miss that when we go there on New Year's Day. Because he
absolutely loved it.
You got to despise him. This is it. And the way he just did what he did, you lot, you'd wish you'd had a Jamie Vardy at Sheffield United, I think.
Obviously, we have different levels, but we had our Jamie Vardy and Billy Sharp. He was the same. He was the wind-up merchant, the goal scorer, the one you could rely on in every scenario, just at the level below. He was our championship version, shall we say. But yeah, Jamie Vardy, the man you love to hate, he came in, he did the same thing every time. And yeah, I'm glad he's not coming back.
Yeah, well, is it Cremonese at the minute in Italy? So
yes, he's got a couple of goals in recent weeks, hasn't he?
He scored 4. Yeah, well, yeah, it was the one where Chris Wilder was crouched down and he looked at the and then obviously they'd scored. Billy Sharp diving against Kisnorb, I remember it. All right, back in 2008.
That's the one at Bramall Lane, isn't it? Did we beat you 3-0? I think James Beattie got hat-trick.
Ross, unbelievable, mate. You bring them things up. Let's go into footing both counts before we get on the team selections. Ollie, let's see if you remember some of these. So obviously we've had Mickey Adams.
Mm-hmm. Got us relegated as manager.
Adi Akibayi seems to come around these players quite a lot when we do footing both counts.
Scored my favourite ever goal at Hillsborough. Well, no, my second favourite ever goal at Hillsborough. Took the worst first touch I've ever seen, then scored a banging overhead kick in the top corner. We beat them 2-0. That was a good day.
Ross, you have a look at the last time we beat Sheffield United in the Championship. Marcus Bent, Nathan Blake, Mark Bunn, Danny Cadamarteri, Tom Cannon, Franz Carr, Hamza Chowdhury, Connor Cody. I didn't really think Connor Cody played for you. Richard Cresswell, John Curtis, Bobby Davison, Richard Delat, Brian Dean, Nathan Dyer, Keith Gillespie, Paul Gallagher, Dean Hammond, Jeff Horsfield, Lee Hendry,
yeah.
Carl Ikeme, Harry Maguire, Joe Twattock. If that's what we're
now that is a name.
You know what I'm on about, don't you? Yeah. Paddy McCarthy, Ben Mee, Lee Morris, Cole Muggleton, Lillian Nallis, Kyle Norton, Chris O'Grady, Harry Suter, Jordan Stewart, Dean Sturridge, Luke Thomas, Richard Stearman.
Is there anybody who hasn't played for both?
Robert Hawthorne, Ashley Ward, Mike Whitlow, Stuart Wilson, Mark Yates. 40.
That is a list.
40.
Wow.
40 players over the years. Richard Stearman, that's just crazy.
I love Richard Stearman.
2011 at Bramall Lane, Andy King Beauty. Wheel was Superman that day. Matuk went off and we had no sympathy for him. Dave Bassett, Jack. Yeah, Dave Bassett is number 41. Then there's probably a few more over the years, but it is what it is. Ollie, what do you reckon regarding team? How do you think you'll line up against Leicester? Because you had Bamford and Cannon up front on Wednesday night. Sorry. You then had O'Hare and Brooks, Riedeveld, Peck, McCallum, Benme, Tanganga, Siriki, I think I say pronounce it, innit? And Cooper.
Yes. So I think there'll be one change from that team. I think it'll be Cooper, Siriki, Tanganga, me, and McCallum. I think the midfield 2. So we have 2 deeper midfielders with 2 attacking midfielders. The deeper 2 will be Jairo Riedewald alongside Sidney Peck. Sidney Peck just got his first goal for the club at the last night. He scored a penalty, but they all count, as it were. So it was really nice to see him get that goal. It'll then be O'Hare and Brooks. I don't think Harmer is fit enough to come in from the start yet. So I wouldn't expect him to start the game. He'll probably come on in the second half, I would imagine, to replace Brooks. Up front, though, it won't be Bamford and Cannon. It'll be Bamford and Campbell, I believe. There is a chance it could be Danny Ings alongside Tyrese Campbell. That'll all depend on the fitness of Patrick Bamford. But if I was telling you today, I think it'll be Patrick Bamford alongside Tyrese Campbell.
Lovely. From Leicester's team, I think we will change Hamza out for Ricardo. Luke Thomas will come back in for the red card of Aluko. I'd personally take Oliver Skip out and put Jordan James in the number 8 and put Bobby D. Cordova-Reid as a number 10. Mavididi for Tarwu, and I think he'll stick with Patson Daka. That's how I think he'll line up against Sheffield United. The last one then, Ollie, is the score prediction.
Ooh, it's the challenge, isn't it? So I've just started doing a score predictions video with Simon Lillibury and Gab Sutton. We've been doing it every week on Simon's YouTube channel. I think he's at Simon Lillibury. So I've just done my predictions and my thinking for this one. And I've gone 1-1. I think it's a really difficult game to predict, this one, because I don't know which way it's going to float. I think both teams have got individual quality that create chances, but obviously both teams just haven't really got going in the season. I think that United, if we score first, could make this a really, really uncomfortable afternoon. I think the fans will get on Marty's back, and I think we could turn it into a really horrible place to be. I think the more likely outcome is that we scrap it out in a really low-quality game. Couple of goals in the second half. I don't know quite how they'll come about, but my prediction would be United score around 60 to 65, and then Fatawu does something crazy and makes it 1-1 in around the 80th minute. And it's one of those unsatisfying 1-1s that leaves everybody a bit disappointed.
Paul's gone 3-0 Sheffield United.
Yes, please.
Ray's gone 3-1. A shockingly good performance out of nowhere by Leicester. I'm going Leicester 1, Sheffield United 1. I'm going to go for a draw. And sometimes the last couple of games, I backed us 2-1. I got 2 of them right out of the 3. So, I think this one's got a draw written all over it, to be fair. I think the first goal is going to be key. If we concede that first goal, then you'll start to pick up the pressure on us a lot more, and we'll probably fold. To be fair, we'll probably give up the way we did against Southampton. But if we can get that first goal, which is always going to be crucial, then we've got to be far better. Because there's been a lot of games this season at home where we don't look comfortable after scoring the first goal. We have a drop in a second half and get a draw. But then against Stoke, we did score that second goal, but then obviously they scored early on, and then it was just, we had to backs to the walls performance. So I'm hoping we have I think it'll be a battling game. I think Tom Cannon will score is my prediction for that. And I think for Leicester, Jordan James. So 1-1 for me. Guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new as well. Go and subscribe to Sheffield United Way. Go and check out Ollie's content as always. Ollie, thanks for coming on, mate. Let everybody know what you do at this Sheffield United Way, mate, and what you've got out, mate.
Indeed. So thank you very much for having me. I've really enjoyed that preview and working it through. We've seemed to have put the world to rights over the last just over an hour. So you can follow us at Sheffield United Way. So we do match previews, match reactions. We do player ratings. We do player interviews where we go back and find some players who've played for the club, try and get them to tell their story. They're really interesting, particularly on the what went wrong. You know, we talked about Dean Hammond earlier. Fantastic video that we did with himself. You can also find me on the EFL Debate with Gab Sutton, where we talk about everything that's going on in the Championship every week. And as I say, we've just started a new weekly pod on at Simon Lillibury's channel, where we talk about Championship predictions. So yeah, lots of Championship content that I do my best to be all right at.
Lovely stuff. Ollie, what's the away allocation? What did Leicester give you?
Oh, I don't know the answer to the question off the top of my head. Apologies. All I know is that I couldn't get one because they sold out too fast. So that's where I stand, and I was fuming about it. That seems to have happened recently in last couple of weeks, where people keep buying tickets much too fast for me.
And rest in peace to Chris Gascoigne.
Indeed.
Cheers, Ray. Cheers, mate. Ollie, thanks for coming on, mate. All the best, pal. And I'll see you for the reverse fixture, mate.
Anytime. Thank you very much, guys. Lovely to see you.
Mate. Bye-bye. Right, guys, go check out the Championship predictions as well. We've covered all the Championship games for this week. Go and check that out. Thanks to everyone who's come in and watched an hour-long show. Sorry, I've lost my head a bit in this one about Leicester. I still haven't bloody recovered from that St. Mary's defeat. But I appreciate everyone coming in. Great work. Thank you. Smash a like on this stream. If you want to become a member, we have set up members now on the channel. So if you want to become a member and join the Final Whistle team, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe as always. If you can, get numbers up. And thanks for watching. Take care. Matchday vlog will be out Saturday as well. 12:30 kickoff. Let's see what happens then. As the Foxes take on the Blades.